Hey guys, Craig at Willie Farms. If you notice from the title, this is not going to be your normal bee video. But I want to tell you a little story about this hive. But first I want to tell you another little story. One of, does God still speak? Well, y'all may have heard this story before. I've heard it several years ago, but I looked it up on the internet to make sure I got all the story right. So, not sure who the author is, but whoever it is, I give him credit. You know, there was this young man. He had been going to Bible study on Wednesday nights. And he got there and they were talking among themselves, and one man said, well, God told me to do this. And another man spoke of how God had led him to do something in his life. And the young man began to wonder, does God really still speak? So he left that night, got in his car, was driving off, and he started to pray. He said, God, if you still speak to me, I'll listen. So he's driving along. A few minutes later, he got an urge to pull over to the grocery store, buy a gallon of milk. I want to buy a gallon of milk. He said, God, if that's you, I'll do it. I can always use another gallon of milk. So he pulled in the store, bought the gallon of milk, put it in the seat beside him, and drove on. And he was thinking, was that God speaking to me? And just a few seconds later, he got an urge, turned down the street. And it just kind of bewildered him. Turned down the street. It wasn't an audible voice, you know, it's just a feeling that he had in his heart, deep down. And he went on past that street, and it heard that thing inside him again, turn down that street. He said, God, if that's you, I'll do it. So he turned his car around. He went back. He turned down that street. He was driving down the street, and the street was scattered with a house every now and then, but a lot of businesses and things. And he said, you know, it's kind of late at night, and most of the lights in these houses are off. God, what do you want me to do? And he felt an urge, pull over right here. Pull over. And he pulled over. And he said, go in that house, give them that milk. Go to that house, give them that milk. He said, God, I'm going to look like a fool if they don't want this milk, if they don't know what's going on. But God, if it's you, I'll be the fool for you. So he got out of his car, milk in hand, walked up on the porch, and he could hear some voices inside talking. He couldn't make out what they were saying. So he knocked on the door. The voices went silent. He could hear footsteps coming towards the door. The man flung the door open. He said, what do you want? And the young man standing on the porch just kind of stood there, and he thrust the milk out in front of him to him. And the man just stood there and stared with his mouth open. And he turned to his wife. His wife had come down the hall and carrying a baby. And he turned around, handed the woman the gallon of milk. And the man turned back to him. He said, we've had a rough month. We paid out our bills. We run out of grocery money. We didn't have money for milk. And we were praying to God to provide milk for our baby. He said, are you an angel? And the young man said, no, I am not. And he reached into his pocket, gave him all the money he had, turned around and walked off. And he knew, yes, God still speaks. And he still does today. That is, if you're willing to listen and you'll be still and want to hear from God. Now, this beehive right here, it's not like my other hives. It's different. I was at church a few Sundays ago, and a friend of mine that I've known for very many years was an usher. I was out in the lobby. I was on security duty. And he brought back the tithe and offering, put it in the office where it was supposed to. He come back to me and he said, "Do you have any bees?" And I said, "No, right now I don't. I've got some ordered, but I don't have any." And he said, "God told me to give you this hive of bees." Now mind you, Harley only had 2 hives of bees. And God had given him those bees. They had flown into hives he had set up. So God, he said, God told him to give me a hive of bees. What he didn't understand is I had just uploaded my first few videos on my YouTube channel, and just that morning one had come live on beekeeping. I'm going to tell you a little something. I don't get in front of people, I don't speak. But I felt that I needed to do exactly what I'm doing here. Get on here, tell people about homesteading, and tell people about God. And if you don't see my faith through every video that I have on there, then I'm doing something wrong. And I want to correct that. So that was a confirmation to me that I was doing what God wanted me to do. And I appreciated that so much, that Harley was listening to the voice of God. And I've got this hive of bees. Now when I return his hives to him, I'm going to do my very best not to return them empty. God is a good God. He talks, he leads, he guides. So be still a minute, somewhere by yourself. Just get still and ask God to talk to you. And I believe he will do it. I believe he will, if you truly want to hear from him. As always, count your blessings every day, and I'm sure you will find that you are blessed far, far beyond measure. I know I am. God bless.